Well, let's try to understand. Let's take the survey of structuralism and post-structuralism. First of all, we need to understand that structuralism emerged as a dominant intellectual paradigm in France in the late 1950s. Okay, structuralism has its origin, its emergence in France in the late 1950s. Late 1950s means around 1957, 58, etc. After 1955. And structuralism was a kind of response to the earlier philosophy in literary criticism. That was the existentialist approach. The existentialism in we have already become familiar with. I suggest you that in the beginning itself, once again, visit your canvas and try to get familiar with the isms, different isms, existentialism, etc. So this existential philosophy or existential approach to the study of literature emphasized on subjectivity and individual autonomy. And structuralism was in part, not entirely, in part, the response to this particular approach, existentialist approach, which emphasized on subjectivity. Subjectivity means related to an individual and individual autonomy. Individual autonomy means the freedom, the liberty enjoyed by an individual. Okay. And this could be seen, the existential emphasis on subjectivity and individual autonomy could be seen in the form of personification, which is personified in the work and character of characters, we can say Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre was the French writer, French novelist, and in his works we come across the subjectivity and individual autonomy, existential philosophy. A short while before, while talking about the syllabus, I referred to Simone de Beauvoir. Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul Sartre were, live-in relationship partners. And in part, it is a kind of reflection, apart from being the response to the existentialist emphasis on subjectivity and individual autonomy, it is a reflection of the rising influence of research in the human sciences, social sciences. Means two factors were responsible for the emergence of structuralism in France, namely existentialism and the research in social sciences. So when you understand about its origin, actually, means in literature, it started to be used in literary theory in late 1950s, but it has its origin in the work of the Swiss linguist. You might be familiar with, I'm sure, because you have studied some structuralism in your paper 3. So it has its origin in the work of the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. Okay, and you might be knowing that he was the professor at Geneva University, and his lectures between 1906 to 1911 were published by students on the basis of the notes, class notes they had taken. And these notes were published in the form of book in the year 1916, in the form of a book, as I mentioned earlier, Cours de Linguistique Générale. That was the French title, and the English title is the Course in General Linguistics. And this work provides structuralism's basic methodological insights and terminology. So this is how we can understand the origin of structuralism in literature, in the study of literature. Not only in the study of literature, in art in general, we can say. Further, apart from these contributing factors, We can talk about the Russian-born linguist Roman Jakobson. He was the one who first used the term structuralism in 1929. And it was Jakobson who introduced the basic principle of Sassurian linguistics to both the anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss and the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan. Okay, it was Jakobson who introduced these principles to both these, scholars. One is from anthropology, and the other one was for psychoanalysis. Lacan and Claude Lévi-Strauss. Claude Lévi-Strauss was an anthropologist. Now, Lévi-Strauss and Lacan, apart from these two scholars, there was one more philosopher, Louis Althusser, and the literary theorist Roland Barthes. Now, you should pay attention toward the pronunciation of the names, these are French people, and the way I'm uttering their name is also very important. I said Roland Barthes, not Roland. It's Roland Barthes, okay? So all these people together are viewed as the dominant figures in French structuralism. Means their work in the 1950s and 1960s brought a kind of revolutionized, we can say, how one thought about the human sciences, psychoanalysis, literature, and Marxism. So there was a kind of revolutionary way of looking at the things, thinking about our social sciences or human sciences. Human sciences means, the anthropology, then we can talk about sociology, etc. Then the way they talked about psychoanalysis, psychology, the psychological theory of Sigmund Freud and all. So this French structuralism shared a set of methodological assumptions and a willingness to work with the concept of Sassurian linguistics. And this particular shared set of methodological assumptions unites all these structuralist theorists. All of them means Lévi-Strauss, Lacan, Althusser, and Roland Barthes are called structuralist theorists. And their theoretical methodological assumptions and their willingness to work on Saussure's linguistics concepts, concepts of Sassurian linguistics, united them together. So this is how we understand the origin of French structuralism. These structuralists or these theorists draw on the four binary oppositions which you have studied in your linguistics, paper 3, during the first semester. Saussure talks about the four binary oppositions, and these four binary oppositions are central to Sassurian linguistics, namely signifier, or signifiant, and signifier, then lang and parole, synchronic and diachronic, and infrastructure and superstructure. So these are the four binary oppositions which are central to Sassurian linguistics, and they draw heavily on these four binary oppositions. And these theories or structuralists developed their theories by keeping the first term in each binary pair. For example, signifier, lang, synchronic, and infrastructure at the center, not the second term. The first term was at the center in their discussion, in their theories. So their theories, diminished, means made the role of the individual subject or agent low. They, what we call, reduce the value of individual subjectivity of existentialism. because they highlighted the underlying relation that govern social and psychic practices. They focus on the underlying principle. When you understand the meaning of long synchronic linguistics, asynchronic relations, infrastructure, signify, etc., then time we realize that we talk about the underlying system itself. So the focus of this theories was on this underlying system. In the next part of my lecture, I shall be talking about all these things in detail. I'll be talking about Saussurean concepts, the concepts from binary oppositions from Saussurean linguistics,